All right. Moving on, K2, male sexual maturity. Male and maturity, those don't go together. No, this isn't being mature. This is being sexually mature. And that just means ready to reproduce. So you can have babies at this point. It doesn't mean you're mentally mature enough to have babies or should be having babies. But your body is ready to make babies. This happens to your brain, determines when you are sexually mature. It's somewhat mysterious, I guess. I mean, you've grown, you're a certain age, you're large enough, you've been growing for long enough. Who knows what your brain determines? It's your hypothalamus that basically determines this. And what your hypothalamus then does when it determines that you're now ready to go from boy to man, it releases from the hypothalamus a releasing hormone. Remember, the hypothalamus, the posterior pituitary gland, the hypothalamus controls via nerves. The anterior pituitary gland, there is a portal vein that connects the hypothalamus to the anterior pituitary. And down that portal vein, the hypothalamus will either release releasing hormones or inhibiting hormones. Well, here it releases a releasing hormone, a specific releasing hormone called gonadotropic releasing hormone. Gonads are your junk. Gonads is your junk. Women have gonad. That's where gonads is. So men have testicles. Those are their gonads, where sperm are made. Women have their ovaries. That's where the ovum are made. Those are your gonads. Your gonads are your sex cells, essentially. That's your gonads. So gonadotropic releasing hormone that has to do with your gonads. And what happens is, so now your brain has determined you are ready to become a man, and so it releases gonadotropic releasing hormone that travels that itty-bitty distance from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, which is just underneath it, down that portal vein. And in the cells of the anterior pituitary, remember, what hormones do is they enter cells and they promote certain parts of DNA. So what will happen is gonadotropic releasing hormone will promote the parts of DNA of those anterior pituitary cells that are the genes that encode two hormones: luteinizing hormone, LH, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. We're going to see these exact same hormones in the ladies soon enough. Don't forget about those hormones. They do different things, though, well, similar and different. So luteinizing hormone and then follicle stimulating hormone. So now those genes are promoted. So those cells in the anterior pituitary are now making follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone and releasing that into capillaries. And they are leaving, and they are now going all over the body, and they are going to do stuff. What they're going to do, luteinizing hormone stimulates the secretion of testosterone, and testosterone is the hormone that is associated with maleness. And basically what testosterone does, it promotes the growth of pubic hair, facial hair, enlargement of the larynx. You get the Adam's apple, so you can men's voice break, boys, their voice break. The choir, they used to have kids that sang in the choir in the olden days with their beautiful angelic voices. Sometimes they would castrate them so that their voices would never change, would never drop. Boy, we did some fantastic stuff in the day. So growth of pubic hair, underarm hair, enlargement of the larynx, muscle and skeletal growth. Men have larger skeletons and larger muscles, and that is thanks to testosterone. You release of oils and sweat. So basically what happens is you can sweat more, that your skin changes, the cells in your skin become more active, and you sweat more. That's why teenagers stink. You teenagers reek because they are sweating so much more and producing a lot more oil in their cells. That oil then blocks pores in your skin, all those extra oils, and bacteria that live in your skin feed on those extra oils, and you get pimply. That's why you get zits. That's from puberty. Eventually, your body, you know, the problem with puberty is you get too much of everything. You get too much of stuff, big swings, big, huge hormonal swings. So too much testosterone. That testosterone is new, so all this stuff is happening. Your body hasn't figured out what levels to set it at. That takes a while for it to set it up. And then also testosterone is a troublesome thing, promotes baldness. Look at me. In certain genetic types, so you have to have a certain genetics in order to be bald. To have baldness, you have to have special genetics. So it doesn't mean if you're not bald, it doesn't mean you have low testosterone or something like that. Sometimes people think that, or if you are bald, you have too much testosterone. No, it just the genetics, the way your the hair cells react to testosterone matters. And actually, that genetics is passed down on your mother's side for some reason. I don't know. I think a lot of these things are still a mystery. So that's so and where testosterone comes from, it actually comes from, so luteinizing hormone promotes testosterone, and it comes from two places, a little bit from your adrenal glands, which live on top of your kidneys. Remember, they live on top of your kidneys, so you get some testosterone being produced there. Now, interestingly enough, guess who else has adrenal glands on their kidneys? Women. So guess who else makes testosterone? Testosterone's not exclusively a man hormone, because women also produce small levels of testosterone from their adrenal glands. And they can have more testosterone produced. Sometimes the adrenal glands are more active and produce more testosterone. So women also have testosterone. They produce it in their adrenal glands. As a result, testosterone builds up over time in your body. It actually, as you grow older, it doesn't really go away. And so as you grow older, you start to get really long nose hair, because testosterone promotes it promotes losing your hair on your head, at least for me. But it promotes hair growth everywhere else, and weird ear hair and stuff like that as you grow older will grow, and your nose grows bigger. I believe that's part of testosterone. Your nose keeps growing forever, actually. So you have that to look forward to. So women, you have that to look forward to as well. When you grow older, to that testosterone, because your estrogen levels, which kind of cancels out your testosterone, but kind of doesn't. It's actually like a different kind of testosterone, or testosterone's a different kind of estrogen. We'll talk about that in a sec. You also have hair, beard hair, to look forward to for some women. Again, depending on your particular genetics. So that's a luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone released, testosterone from the adrenal glands, and then the majority of testosterone is made in the testes. The testicles make their cells in the testes that produce testosterone. That's the majority. That's why men have more testosterone, because they have testes, which have the structures to make more testosterone. The other hormone that's released from the anterior pituitary, thanks to gonadotropic releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, is follicle-stimulating hormone. And what follicle-stimulating hormone does is it goes to the testes and it tells the seminiferous tubules to start producing sperm. Now you continue, you will make sperm. You're going to make sperm, son. You're going to make sperm forever. And the process of making sperm is called spermatogenesis. And we can flip over here and look at what spermatogenesis looks like. So here's a testy, and this is where all the seminiferous tubules are. You can kind of see them all bunched up in there. And so let's pull out one of these seminiferous tubules. There it is. And in the wall, in the lining of the seminiferous tubules, are these cells here. These are called spermatogonium. They're going to turn into sperm. And what happens is they divide, the spermatogonium, they divide, and one of them stays behind. It's like, go on, brother, be brave, I will stay behind. So it stays behind here because you continue to make sperm. So that guy, the brother that stays behind, he will devour. I'm making them, I'm anthropomorphizing them, but they're really actually daughter cells, I guess. But that daughter cell will stay behind and will continue to divide to make more sperm. Then one divides and goes off to the world. It becomes a primary spermatocyte. Then, so first you have mitotic division. Mitosis is you copy all of the genes, and so you go from 46 to 90 or 102, and then the cell divides, so you have 46 in each cell, 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes. And then what happens? So then one of those guys, after that first division, one of them stays behind. And then this one's called, becomes the one that is leaving is called a primary spermatocyte, and that one divides meiotically, meiosis. And during meiosis, you guys learned about meiosis in grade 9. I'm sure you remember it. But during meiosis, what happens is you divide, except the DNA doesn't get replicated. And what ends up happening is you get meiotic division. Basically, actually the DNA does replicate. Sorry, that's totally incorrect. DNA replicates, you basically get mitosis, you get 2 new cells, and then you get meiosis 2. So meiosis 1 is like mitosis, and then you get meiosis 2, where the DNA doesn't replicate, but the cells replicate again. So you go from, so in meiosis 1, you make 102 chromosomes. They divide. Now you have 2 cells that have 46 chromosomes. Then they divide again, but they don't copy the chromosomes. So there are 4 daughter cells left over after that, and the 4 daughter cells have 23 chromosomes each. And the chromosomes are randomly assorted. So, you have one set of chromosomes is from your mom, one set of chromosomes is from your dad. Well, they randomly get mixed up during meiosis 2. So some from your dad, some from your mom. That 23 chromosomes in those final gonads, those final sex cells, or those final sperm, have a combination of mother and father chromosomes, 23 of them. And all of the chromosomes get copied, you know what I mean? Like chromosome 1, chromosome 2, chromosome 3, chromosome 4. They're not so randomly assorted that you get like 2 chromosome 2s. No, that does happen sometimes, but that's a mistake. And usually those cells would be destroyed if there's big mistakes like that. Those are chromosomal mutations. And there are things that happen that check to make sure that doesn't make it through. And sometimes it does. But most of the time it doesn't. So there you go. So you end up with 4 sperm that have 23 chromosomes, then they're done. So you see they start at the wall, and they migrate down as they develop, and this is the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. That's the little space in here, and they go down the lumen to the epididymis, and in the epididymis, they gain the ability to swim. Basically, their tails become active, and they are stored in the epididymis until it's time to ejaculate, where they go up the vas deferens. And while they're traveling down the vas deferens, there are a number of so they travel out of the epididymis and up the vas deferens to the urethra. As they travel, various fluids are added from various glands, okay? So you have seminal vesicles first, and those add, so you got sperm, and then the sperm you get added like a mucus to make semen. You're basically making semen. So you ejaculate semen. Semen contains sperm, and so semen is a combination of sperm and these other things. So the seminal vesicles add mucus to make semen sticky and viscous, so it flows. The seminal vesicles add fructose, which is a sugar. Remember, that's a sugar. And what that sugar, so semen contains food for the sperm, because remember those sperm, the midsection of sperm has lots of mitochondria. Those are going to need sugar to metabolize that sugar to produce ATP so the sperm can swim, so they can move that tail. So seminal vesicles are adding fructose to there so that sperm have food. And something called prostaglandins, which are like lipid-based molecules. They're kind of like hormones. And what they do is when they enter the vagina and the uterus, they head for the muscles in the uterus, and they cause sort of contractions of the uterus, like minor contractions of the muscles around the uterus. And that helps to kind of pump the semen up into, up where it needs to go. It's helping it along. It's hijacking women's, so the semen hijacks the internals of a woman to help sperm along. Another gland that's on the way, along the way, is the prostate gland. Prostate gland, when you reach a certain age, when you reach my age, the prostate gland is susceptible to getting prostate cancer, getting enlarged and getting prostate cancer. Prostate glands, when you get older, it enlarges anyways, and it presses on your bladder, and so men in their middle age pee a lot. Thanks to an enlarged prostate. The prostate gland adds additional fluids to make things more fluidy, and it adds citrate. And citrate is additional source of energy. Those sperm need a lot of energy, so there's citrate. And finally, there's something called the Cowper's gland. And the Cowper's gland adds more fluid, and this fluid contains bicarbonate, which is a buffer. And so basically a woman's vagina, because it's an opening to the outside world, or it's the passageway to the outside world, vagina is not the opening. Part of the passive immune system of a woman is that area is acidic. It's slightly acidic. And that hurts, that prevents bacteria and viruses from living or from surviving in this acid environment. Well, it would hurt the sperm. Also, it would kill the sperm. So semen contains bicarbonate, and what bicarbonate does is it pulls hydrogen ions out of solution, so it makes the vagina less acidic so that sperm can survive in the vagina. What else do we need to talk about? What else? So that's ejaculation. So, last thing, which I forgot to mention when I was talking about testosterone. So the levels of testosterone, how levels of testosterone are maintained is through a negative feedback loop. So testosterone, so like I said, luteinizing hormone, which is released from the anterior pituitary at the behest of the hypothalamus. Luteinizing hormone, it goes to the testes and the adrenal gland and promotes, activates testosterone being made. Well, testosterone then goes, and what it does is it inhibits the hypothalamus from releasing gonadotropic, the gonadotropic releasing hormone, the anterior pituitary from releasing luteinizing hormone. So it like kills the thing that's telling it to get made. So then the testosterone levels drop, and luteinizing hormone starts getting made again. And testosterone's level rise, they inhibit luteinizing hormone, and up and down and up and down. That's how the level is maintained relatively steady. It's a negative feedback loop. And I think that's it. I think that covers male sexual maturity.